Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to another video, a new video series we're going to be doing. I haven't uploaded for quite a while, but I plan on uploading this new series on F122. Probably be a weekly upload thing. I'm just going to be playing in the My Career, My Team section, and we're going to run through the championship, see how we go. I haven't actually played an F1 game for, I believe 2016 or 2017 was the last one I've played. This one definitely feels better than the ones I've played in the past. So we're going to see how we go. We're just going through all our settings here. I'm not sure exactly what the AI difficulty should be set on right now. I'm not the best, but I want to make it so I'm kind of competing around the bottom of the pack to start with. And as we upgrade our car and improve, then hopefully we start getting some better results. Just as we go through, going to speed through creating the player and the team here. It's a little bit dry. But yeah, I'm sort of unable to stick to a schedule of streaming at the moment. So until I can get a consistent schedule, I'm going to be taking a break from streaming and we'll just be uploading on YouTube for a little while. I'll probably stick mainly to this. We might do a couple of other games here or there, and I might return to streaming just randomly. For example, next month when the new Warhammer 3 expansion comes out, I might do a couple of streams on that. But yeah, I've done a couple of races, just not on recording, just to see what this is like, and I'm kind of enjoying it. So I figured, you know what, let's do a recording. Yeah, we're making it Swift and Shift Racing. Points to anyone who understands the Swift and Shift reference. So we can go through, pick our sponsors, pick our engine, pick our teammate and everything. Unfortunately, in this playthrough, I didn't get access to Oscar Piastri. It's random who you get here. And normally I like to pick Oscar. I did in my playthrough I'm doing off recording. But we'll pick up, I think, Marcus Armstrong here, the Kiwi. And hopefully we can develop him into a good little driver. And he can try and compete with us. Maybe try and challenge for a Constructors' Championship in future seasons. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near that to start with, as our car is definitely going to be down the bottom, hopefully a little bit better than Aston and Williams, and we'll see from there. But for now, we are going to have to focus on development, try and get the car up to standard, as we will go through, pick a livery, and get our team colours sorted. We can change all this later, so I'm definitely not going to spend a whole heap of time on it now. But I want to get it looking somewhat decent. But I think we'll just sort of leave the livery standard. This sticker is just kind of for us in what we can see in the car. I am going to be doing this in VR as well, which did pose a problem, a little bit of a problem recording this. This is actually recording through the window that pops out from F122 when you start it in VR, which is fine for these menus. But as soon as you actually get into the car and race, the FOV goes very, very wonky. It's very stretched. So I did record practice to start with, and then I checked the recording, saw it was a very, very scuffed field of view, and decided to change to Oculus Mirror. So I'm now using Oculus Mirror to record, which is worse for the menus. So the menus, unfortunately, don't come up like this. They're sort of a screen in front of me, and I move my head in VR. So when I change over to that, it will be noticeable, but I think what I'll do for next episode is I'll set up a scene on OBS. So I'll use both windows to record. For the menus, I'll be in the F122 window, so the menus will look as it is now. But for the racing, it'll switch over to the Oculus Mirror. But we've created our team, got our driver set up, and now we are jumping in to our first interview and the unveiling of our car. So we will watch that now with Will Buxton.
We're here at the headquarters of Formula One's newest team for an exclusive first look at what they will be bringing to the sport. It's always an exciting moment to welcome a new team onto the grid. However, what makes this occasion a little more special is how strikingly different the cars are this year. Yep, the long-awaited new regulations are finally here, and with them, the start of the next era of Formula One. The 2022 season ushers in a change of direction to the regulations aimed at promoting closer racing, with new aero additions in the form of swooping front and rear wings, along with the new eye-catching 18-inch low-profile tyres that will push tyre technology to the limit. So then, the question remains as to whether this team can grasp the opportunity before them with both hands and lead the charge against the rest of the paddock. We'll find out soon enough, as the new season is just about to begin. But first, let's see the unveiling of the team's car and meet the owner of the brand new Formula One team.
And here she is, the Swift and Shift Racing Mobile. Looking like it is going to be an absolute beast.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting us here today. It's been wonderful to see behind the scenes.
This interview can be a little dry, but it gives you certain boosts for certain development areas like aerodynamics, powertrain, and it only happens once, so we'll just watch it for now.
Enormously in the intervening years. How are you going to handle the responsibilities of both managing and driving for a Formula One team? Let's talk about your teammate. Now, it's clear they're excited to have signed with you, but tell me, what is it that you think they bring to the team? So you've obviously been putting a lot of work into the car. I know it's early days, but how do you expect it to feel out there? Most of the other teams can boast years of experience in Formula One. Where do you see the opportunities to make those vital performance gains you need to put you within reach of the other cars? Ultimately, your success this season is going to come down to whether you can take positions from the other drivers. What is it about your car that's going to give you that edge in those battles? And finally, with so many specialist departments working together here at your headquarters, and with such an important deadline coming up, who's getting that coveted Teacher's Gold Star? Which group do you feel the most proud of right now? Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful to get an insight from you and, of course, to see around the headquarters. Thank you for today. Really appreciate it. And thank you all at home for watching as well.
All right, so yeah, I believe from that our aero department is going to be Spec 1, which means it's slightly better than the other facilities. So that means we can do 2 aero upgrades at once, but this is the menu. We also have these events that we can do before upcoming events. So we're going to do the merchandise sale for a bit of cash, and also the pre-season advertisement campaign, which is going to give us a little bit of team acclaim, which is going to be important to get extra sponsors and stuff. So yeah, just going through the messages. There's nothing really much in here, but I will flick over to the R&D tab. This is where we get all of our upgrades. So you can see the top right, we have our upgrade points, which we have 1,000 of to start with, which is going to be enough for 1 upgrade. And I am going to go straight into aero because I really want the car to just have as much downforce as possible. There's a few different areas we can upgrade, but we won't have the points yet. We will have a few extra points coming in once we advance. We'll get like a weekly bonus, so we'll be able to do another upgrade there, and I think I will throw it also into aero. I just want to get as many aero upgrades done as possible for now. There's not too many branches we can go down to start with. Hopefully that unlocks a little bit later. But yeah, I think our first upgrade did fail there. I think I checked that. Yeah, our first upgrade failed, so each upgrade has like a percentage chance of succeeding. And I think this had a 30% failure chance, but we just got unlucky with that one. So we're not going to be bringing any upgrades to the first race weekend at Bahrain. So we'll just have to race with what we've got and hope it's okay. I normally like to go with a softer tyre allocation, just because that gives us all soft tyres for qualifying, and we use our harder tyres during practice, which just makes a lot more sense for me. I don't want to be going out on the harder compounds during qualifying. So that's generally what I'm going to be picking, but we are going to jump right into Bahrain here. Practice 1, our first race weekend in F1 for Swift and Shift Racing. But I am just quickly got a showcase here. So this is where this was practice 1, where I was recording, as I said, through the F122 window, which, as I said, was fine for the menus here. But you'll see once I jump in, I won't go long, but you'll see the FOV just gets a little bit weird. So I'll swap over shortly to when I swapped to the Oculus Mirror, which the recording was just much better for gameplay. It didn't come out stretched, so there's just messages here. You can also manage R&D from this screen and your actual car parts, so when your gearbox or engine parts wear out, you can change them out, which we'll have to do later in the season. Hopefully we don't have to worry about too much early on, but definitely later in the season, once parts start to wear, we'll have practice and race gearboxes and stuff. But we'll get more into that later on. So here we go into the Bahrain Grand Prix. There's Aston Martin. I expect we'll be competing with those guys, actually.
Morning, mate. Mark here. Thanks again for bringing me on board. You found a lot of talented people for this team, and I can't wait to see what we can accomplish. Our journey to the Constructors' Championship starts right here today.
I do think that's going to be a long journey, Mark, but yeah, as you can see, the resolution is just a little bit scuffed here. So we will swap over to Oculus Mirror. With Oculus Mirror, we did have also a minor issue for this episode. I have it fixed for future ones. But you'll see here the edges of the screen with that sort of black bar stuttering across. I didn't realise this until after I'd done the race. Actually, yeah, it was... I think even practice and quali for the next weekend might have it, but we'll have it fixed for the race next weekend. So hopefully that's not too much of an issue. It's a bit unfortunate. It is a bit annoying, but we do have a fix for that coming. So now this is practice. We have these different practice programs to do. As you can see there on the left, we have resource awards, and on the right, we have development boosts. So our resource rewards are our main completion goals for each practice program, and the ones on the right are separate bonuses. So on the left, they give us resource points that we use to unlock upgrades, and the bonuses on the right will reduce the cost of upgrades. So we want to be completing as many of these as possible during practice. And I'm going to be going out doing the race strategy now, which is basically just a target time to beat. We have 5 laps, and we have to reach 50 points to get the optimal race strategy program done. And it basically tracks tyre wear as well, so when it comes to the race, it will sort of dictate... A brilliant start, immediately I spin out, and that's gonna happen a little bit probably, especially around Bahrain. Bahrain, I've always been awful at Bahrain. Getting on the power, you have to be really, really careful. But hopefully we can just sort that out. There's plenty of time to practice, and we'll have it down for the race, I hope. But yeah, it basically tracks tyre wear, so it will dictate our race strategy when we actually do get to the race, but we're a little bit away from that now. For now, we're just going to focus on getting it through our practice programs, because we want to be ramping up them development points as quickly as possible so that we can get our car functioning. Our teammate also can do the practice programs. In my experience, though, they sort of either do 0 or 1 of them. I'm not sure if that changes, or if there's like some kind of modifier you can make to make them do more, but yeah, the other game, I've only done a couple of races, but my teammate there hasn't really been helpful. It's kind of all been my development points. So I got to make sure I'm maximising them. But yeah, on our outlap here. So we're just going to try and learn the track, see how the car feels, because again, it's been a very, very long time since I've played an F1 game. Here we go into our first lap of the program, and we only had that one slide out, so thankfully it's been clean since then. So we go down a lap of Bahrain into this heavy braking zone. Turn the car in. We want to stay to the middle, probably a little bit further left there than what I would have liked, because you want to open up this section, get on the power as early as possible into the next DRS zone. Find your turn in here. And it's very, in VR I noticed, you're very low in the car. So I did have trouble seeing some of these apexes. Especially here, trying to see over the rise there and pick where you want to turn in. I did have some problems with, but again, this is first race, first time in F1, so we will get used to it later and hopefully start performing. Again, I think Bahrain's got to be one of my weakest tracks of the whole season, so starting here is going to be rough. Probably not expecting too much from the weekend, but we'll see how we go. Maybe we can acclimatise to the track and hopefully get some kind of result early on. Again, really just unable to see. I'm missing so many apexes, unable to see. On the wheel here, you can see we, in VR you don't get too much information. You don't get like the leaderboard or anything on the side. It's kind of just what you have on the wheel here. So the info we have is our lap, top left, we have lap 1, P9. Our gears, obviously. The number on the top right is total laps of fuel remaining. So we have 6.1 laps of fuel. On the left hand side in the middle there, we have our speed. Just underneath the gear there, the number in red is our split, which is going to be to our personal best lap. So we're green here, so we're up. On the right is our lap time. That orange bar there that says overtake is going to be our ERS. So at the moment it's just on whatever mode we have it on, which I believe would be medium for this. And when it goes green, which we will see in a couple of corners, that means we've hit the overtake button, so we're using energy for that little bit of extra speed. The bar, sort of there you go, it says green there now, but we just flicked it off. The bar below is our charge, how much ERS we have. And then the 2 bars below that is how much we've charged for the lap and how much we've used for the lap. And the temperatures on the left and right is going to be tyre temps, and that's pretty much all the info we have. I can, however, talk to my engineer throughout the sessions if I want to get like distances to cars ahead, behind, and all that sort of information. But it is, I find, very immersive in VR. I've raced in VR and not in VR, and you get so much more information not in VR, but I find the immersion in VR of kind of, if you're sort of, what I found, if you're driving alone and you're like 4 or 5 laps on your own, you haven't seen another car, you really have no idea what's going on, so you have to ask for all that information, which I think is really cool. I find it quite immersive, but so far, as you can see on this practice program, we are doing pretty well. In future Grand Prix, I probably won't showcase all of this, I'll just quickly zip through them, because there's not too much going on, I'm just kind of driving around. I'll just sort of show if I did them, if I didn't do them. But for this one, I'll show how they work. So you see we're on 30 points, which is the goal for average completion, which means that is going to be 150 resource points in the bank right there. The target is 50 points for the extra 75. So each practice program has 2 goals. It has an average and an optimal. And the average one is always worth 150, the optimal is always worth 75, with the optimal always being a little bit harder to achieve, whether it's a faster lap time, better tyre wear, those sorts of things. For the actual race program, the goal is to beat a certain lap time, and you get more points if you chain laps together. So if, for example, last lap, so the first lap I got 10 points, last lap I got 20 points, so that's a total of 30. If last lap I had not made the target time, and then I'd completed the 3rd lap, it would have only been worth 10 points, so I would have only on 20. At least that's how I believe it works from what I've done. Yeah, so far we're good. Pretty close to our lap time, so this should be it if we can keep the last corner steady, which we do. And that should be our first practice program complete. I'm not sure what bonuses we've got at this point. And yes, that is indeed Mark giving us words of encouragement. You'll love to see it. That is indeed our first practice program done. We can continue and do the next 2 laps. which will give us more accurate tyre data. We won't get any more rewards from it though, unless we haven't actually completed the optional tasks. But it just gives us more accurate tyre data for the race, so I think I will go ahead and do that. And it's a little bit of extra practice for the track, which I very, very desperately need. But as you can see, oh my god, I was just about to say I'm getting smoother and smoother, and then I hit the curb.
Are you okay? That was
I lose traction, and then I cannot save it, and we put it in the tyre barrier, and that is going to be us out of our first practice. And that is a disaster. We did get the program done, but yeah, the walk of shame from putting it in the wall for Swift and Shift Racing. So that was not ideal, but it is only practice, and we did get one of our programs done, so that is okay. And this is what I mean by the menus in VR. They're unfortunately not the best, but as you can see, we are a long way off the pace there, as expected. Armstrong up in P16. He was on softs. He was the last of the runners on softs though, so Swift and Shift definitely down. And that is expected early on, especially with our first upgrade failing as well, so our car really, really struggling, but we are going to go ahead and join into Practice 2 after the team had to fix the car up after I decided to put it in the wall, but we still have more practice programs to do, and we are going to jump ahead and do the tyre management program now, which is all about reducing wear as much as possible on the tyres. So I do believe you did max out the race program, so we got all the bonuses as well, so that'll reduce the cost of our upgrades, which is going to come in handy. If we're the only one getting our resource points, it's going to come in very, very handy. But yeah, we're just going to jump out for this outlap on the mediums again. So after every single practice session, you have to send 2 tyres back. So you want to be sort of maximising the tyres you have allocated for the session, but because I crashed out, especially like for this track where I don't know, I really want to get as much track time as possible. Or I do know it, I'm just not very good at it, I need the practice. So yeah, crashing out means we kind of wasted a set of tyres there that were just completely fresh, and the ones that were on the car as well, we didn't use much out of them. But hopefully this practice session we will get a bit more time on a track. And yeah, let's not break the car too much, because it does cost money, obviously, to repair the car, and early on we don't have much. I did do the pre-season merchandise sale for a bit of bonus capital, but yeah, we definitely don't want to be burning through all our cash right now. We're going to need it to upgrade facilities and things like that, so hopefully we can keep it together. Oh my god, I've already spun. It's a fucking disaster. But again, this was just our outlap. We still have our program coming up next lap, so just got to keep it steady. But yeah, the debut weekend is showing for me especially. I'm not sure how Armstrong is going. He didn't DNF from the last practice session, I believe, so he had a better showing than me. Alright, we are going to get started now on the tyre management program. We go into our first lap here. So tyre management, we have to be under a target lap time, same as race pace, but it also takes into account our tyre wear. So if our tyre wear is too bad, we fail, and if our time is too slow, we fail. We do have 3 laps. We only have to get optimal once, and obviously we have all the bonus objectives to complete as well, which I didn't actually see what they were, but they can be things like staying on the racing line, using DRS in all sectors, what's another one I remember, setting an optimal sector time, keeping good corner speeds, things like that. So they're just things you'll complete as you go through a lap, and you can complete those even if you fail the challenge completely, you'll still get the bonuses from your those bonus objectives if you complete them. So even if we're not doing challenges, or even if we can't complete the challenge, we need to make sure we're getting all those bonuses, because they are still very, very useful, especially when you start getting up to like 50% cost reduction on parts. It can really, really make a big difference. when you're struggling for those resource points. But so far this lap looking a lot cleaner. Able to get it in. It still looks like I'm a little bit wide some of the time. Really not used to the VR yet, but there's still time. A little wide there, but getting on the power. I found getting on the power is where I'm struggling the most, as I don't get a good enough lap time there for the program. So we need to go again, and I think we'll just start skipping through these programs now and try and get on the qualifying and the race. But for our second lap, we got the pace, but we only had average tyre wear, so that's the 150 points, but not the extra 75. And for our final lap, we also only managed average tyre wear, unfortunately, so we get the 150. We didn't get optimal tyre wear. We can do it again, but I think we're just going to skip straight to qualifying pace here, which qualifying pace, you get one attempt or one lap, and it's just about the pace. They set you a target of what they estimate, so if they want you to try and get 18th on the grid, that would be your target time. But my first lap I fail, I don't go quick enough, with a 1 at 33.9. I did do a few attempts at this. I think I used all my softs that I had allocated, and I wasn't able to get it. I think my best was something like a 1:33.1. But I think we'll just skip ahead. I wasn't able to get quick enough, which is not a good sign at all for qualifying. But I don't know. Hopefully their estimations were wrong, and we are going to go ahead and jump right into qualifying now. We will take a quick look, I think, at the practice standings, and we see people going in the 131s. I was 14th with a 133.1. So definitely better than practice 1 where we crashed out. And again, our teammate was down the bottom. So this is what we get. We got we got 375 bonus points. I think Armstrong got 100 resource points. Is that what I saw? So that's something. A few resource points from our first race weekend. Hopefully we can get more in the future, because I really, really want to be maxing out the amount that I'm getting, because we are going to need them to start improving the car, especially if we're going to have things fail like we did before this race. That was super unfortunate. But now it's time for our first qualifying session of Formula 1. We had, I would say, a suboptimal practice all around, with a crash in P1 and not even able to complete our practice program for qualifying pace, and even our tyre wear we weren't able to get optimal. But there we are. We have our softs allocated. We are going to jump out on track and see how we go. At the moment I'm driving out for qualifying. I might start doing flying laps later, but I think I'll cut the outlap out most of the time, and we'll just jump on board with our laps, see how we go. But yeah, our first practice is done. Qualifying is underway, and we are well in the swing of Formula 1. Swift and Shift Racing in their first weekend. See if they can impress. Hopefully get some new sponsors, get some more income coming in. Our first goal for Team Acclaim, which I think went up to level 2, is going to be level 5. That is when we unlock our next sponsor, but we're jumping on board with our first flying lap in qualifying. Bring it down into third gear. Plenty of grip on these softs. Looking much better through turn 1 than I was in practice. Getting on the power. Still a little bit sketchy on the throttle. I'm really struggling with getting the power down, and it's somewhere that I am going to need to improve, I think. So we go down into fourth gear. Use all the track. Probably could use a little bit more there, but that's okay. Through this section, which I really, really struggled with. Looking a little bit better. Still probably a little bit off the suboptimal line, but off the optimal line, sorry. But it is looking better at the moment. We proceed through down one of the trickiest braking sections. Definitely the trickiest on the track, and I lock up and run very, very wide. And that is going to hurt this lap time, but there's still plenty of time left in quali. This is right at the start. Checking the mirrors, no one behind me. We bring it down, and I run wide. I have to get out of the throttle as well. And indeed, I do actually pull out of this lap because it was just too many mistakes. I'm going to try and charge up a bit of battery and go for one more flying lap. Before we come into the pits, we have 2.2 laps of fuel, so there's enough there. And we have just over half battery, so hopefully that'll be enough to get us around the track. So we come again into turn 1. Tyres should still be able to handle it, and they do pull us up very, very easily, running a little bit wider there than I would have liked, I think. But still, we are moving on to the next section. Again, into this heavy braking zone. Turn the car in, nice through there. Get on the power as early as possible. Tidy enough, not using all the track, but... oh, very wide there though. And over the curve, very rough there. And missing apex. It's not looking like the tidiest lap. Just all these little mistakes creeping in. And a shake of the head. I'm not happy so far. But we just need to get a time on the board at this point. Come in for fresh softs and go out and do another time. Open the DRS. Power down, running low on battery. There should still be enough just to finish the lap. We're still over 20%. Oh, and I light up the rears! A very similar mistake we made in practice. And that is not good, but now I believe we have gone into the pits. Yeah, there's only 50 seconds of quali left, so this is our last chance. We were thrown some fresh softs on. This is our last chance to get a lap down. At the moment, as you can see, we are P22. And next will be a disaster if that's where we end up in our first ever qualifying. Just mistakes coming out. Tidy through there though. Using a lot more of the track. This is definitely looking better. Oh, but still too wide through there. Still on the lap. Again, missing the apex by a mile there. So, these mistakes that I've been making all day, I haven't sorted them out yet. But we have to keep going. This is our last chance. We're a little bit better through there. Very, very late on the power though. That is going to cost a lot of time. But are we going to be able to? I'm not happy, shaking the head again. Are we going to be able to get out of this qualifying session into our first ever Q2 in our first ever race? A few corners left now. Keep it pinned through here. Run it wide. Oh my god, that should have been track limits. I think I'm running standard track limits, which I thought would be normal, but I do have to up it to strict, I believe. But we're going to just say the stewards were being kind on us there. One more corner to go down into fourth gear. Get on the power as early as possible. And here we go. Open up the DRS. And across the line, and it's not enough. We only manage P21. And we are out in Q1. It's an absolute disaster for Swift and Shift Racing in their first weekend. But we're going to jump in, have a look at the standings. Maybe it went better for our teammate, Max Verstappen, a familiar name up the top. As we scroll down the list, and no, Armstrong only P20 with a 31.1, about a tenth and a half faster than us. And the only one we were managed to beat was the GOAT, Nicholas Latifi. So P20, P21 for Swift and Shift Racing. We know we had a bad car, but I think both of us were expecting a better result from that. As you see, yes, we are level 2 acclaim, and we do gain a little bit from that quali, but we are hoping for better results in the future. And it is race day now. As we jump straight in, we have formation laps, and I am atrocious off the starts, so I need these formation laps for a bit of practice, but the starts are definitely somewhere I'm lacking, but hopefully I improve at them later on. As we see, we build up the RPM, we release, and we just don't go anywhere. So, it's got to be a bit rough, but again, it's something that we'll get used to as we proceed. And we now form up for the grid. We completed our formation lap, warmed up the tyres. Beautiful, it goes purple. Means we got a good position on the grid. There's our teammate next to us, Latifi behind. And I believe that's Stroll directly ahead. And now we build up that RPM, watch for the lights. And I get a really, really bad jump, really slow off the line as well. And everyone else just disappears. But again, it's first lap as we see a repeat of my fantastic start. We see the Red Bull, the Ferrari getting away. The rest of the grid coming along. There I am, absolutely decades behind everyone else on the field. But of course, turn one, everyone's going to slow down. And we're going to be able to catch that up. But I'm just going to stay behind here. I want to keep the nose clean first race. Get used to how the car feels with full fuel. And then start racing a little bit later on. If we have a look up the field, however, our teammate is right behind Albon here. As the field goes through, he's going to pull alongside. Teammate getting right in amongst the action early on. And I have to respect it. He is in alongside the Williams here. Through this section, it is going to give Albon the inside for this braking zone, though. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it alongside. Can't see Albon yet. There he is there. And he is still alongside. It's going to actually give him the inside line coming into turn 10 in this tricky braking zone. Could be a move early for Armstrong. And it looks like he does slightly have the advantage. Is he running out wide? No, gives him room. And I think Albon able to get on the pace early enough. And yeah, Armstrong going to have to slot him behind and wait his turn to go again. But nice attempts early on. Nice clean racing from Armstrong. And I am just slotted in behind at the moment. Just trying to keep the nose clean. As I said, get used to how the car feels on higher fuel. And it's definitely I am struggling. I'm also really struggling with the power. So for now, I'm just going to get used to the car and hopefully start battling for positions a little bit later on in the Grand Prix once the strategy starts coming into play. But we see everyone really slow here, almost making contact. I have to back out hard. And it looks like Latifi going to take advantage of that on Stroll going up the inside into turn 1. Stroll able to stay alongside, just going to punch the overtake. Is he? No, he has to get out of the throttle. And it looks like Latifi going to take that position, but doesn't have much exit speed. Stroll now on the inside. And it looks like Stroll getting on the inside. Oh, it looks like there might have been a bit of contact there, but Stroll able to make the position stick. And moving ahead again of Latifi, as we're going to jump ahead now to lap 3. DRS has been enabled. I've just been trying to get in the zone, and I'm very close to Latifi here. We see Stroll's pulled ahead, so he's not going to have the DRS. I have plenty of battery. I punch the overtake, open up that rear wing, and it looks like we're going to go on the inside here. And we do have the speed advantage, have the inside. Can we slow the car up quick enough? It does look like we do. We're going to push him out wide, and that should be a position gained. As we see the replay here, we pull out, have the rear wing open, plenty more speed with that DRS and overtake. And we make our nice, clean first move in Formula 1. A small lock-up and nothing to be worried about as we move up into 21st place. Back where we started on the grid. And that is a success for Swift and Shift. The first one, really, that we've had all weekend. And that's going to build the confidence. Now, just have to settle in again to a rhythm. Jumping ahead to lap 7 now. I've just been lapping it behind Stroll. And we are getting a little bit closer. We see he's just behind our teammate, probably losing a little bit of time behind the Swift and Shift racing car. And a little bit of aero wash have to release there. But we are super close. No DRS at this stage. But we are going to punch that overtake and bring it up to the rear end of Stroll. We're going to go to the inside. Stroll trying to push us over, but we keep our car there, and we are just going to run him out of road here. Stroll having to back off to stay on the track, and that is another position gain for the Swift and Shift, now running 19th and 20th. And we do have DRS as we were close enough to our teammate, so that is going to allow us to keep the position, and that's an Alpine. I think that's Esteban Ocon going very slow. We see a puff of smoke out of the back, and I think that's going to be his day done. And yes, he's pulling over to the side, probably in a good spot, not going to need a safety car there. But that is Ocon's day done on lap 7, I believe that was. As we're jumping ahead now to lap 9, I am gaining a little bit on my teammate here. He's going very slow, and oh my god, that's contact. That is contact between the Swift and Shift racing cars. I'm not sure what happened there. He broke early, I broke late. Either way, there was a small touch, but I don't think either car sustains damage. But that's going to allow Stroll to catch up. I get a little shake of the head. Not sure if that's at myself or at the teammate, but it's fine. We got away with it. Need to keep the head down now and continue racing. As you can see, the cars are sort of cleared off ahead of Armstrong. Still have DRS. Just checking the mirrors there, trying to make sure Stroll stays behind after that contact. Lost a lot of time. But we are able to stay with Armstrong here. Not sure if we have more pace at this point. Maybe we have to go try and get ahead and see if we can close that gap. You see, cars are a few seconds up the road. We don't want to let them get too far away for our first race. Running super wide there. Stroll not close enough to make anything of it though. But I need to make sure I stay within DRS range here. Otherwise, he will have an opportunity. And I do run a little wide, probably. Didn't get on the power early, and Stroll getting a much better exit. Both have DRS, but he punches that overtake, pulls alongside. It's going to be a contest here. Who can brake later? I try and brake later, but I run wide. And Stroll keeps the inside. I can't get on the throttle on the curb out there, and Stroll going to push on through and take that position back. A little bit of a mistake from me, a bit of a shaky lap after that contact with the teammate. But it's okay, it's only lap 10, there's plenty of time left in this Grand Prix. I don't see Latifi in the mirrors anywhere. So I can just try and get back into the rhythm and close the gap to Stroll once again. As we jump ahead to lap 15, not too much has changed, it looks like, still a little bit behind Stroll. We come here, I'm a little bit wide here as I power on the throttle, and it looks like I've lost the rear! And smacked into the wall, and the head drops in utter disappointment. That is going to be my race done, as we see the replay here, just lighting up the rear. And bang, that is it. That is it for my race. Lap 15 I only got to. Max Verstappen claims victory at Bahrain. But it's a disaster for Swift and Schiff. Maybe a teammate had better luck. We will check the standings as we go down. No, it looks like Armstrong as well DNF'd. Oh, it's a double DNF for the Swift and Schiff Racing team. Pierre Gasly from AlphaTauri also having to DNF. And oh my god, that is an absolute disaster of a weekend. Not really any positives to take. A couple of overtakes maybe, but yeah, that's a disaster. And we are going to lose that level 2 acclaim, and probably deservedly so. That was horrendous driving from me. I'm not sure what happened to Armstrong. I'm not sure if he went out because of a failure or also a crash. But either way, that's our first weekend in Formula 1. Not much to speak about. Next week we have Jeddah, and I think this is a good place to end it. We will be back. I'll try and upload weekly, so back next week with Jeddah. We do have an event here focused on Armstrong, and I think I'm going to go with his pace. We just love pace, don't worry about awareness. But I appreciate everyone watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you are going to enjoy it. I had fun recording it for sure, but for now I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.